What's up, guys? Brad here from Piney Grove. Thanks for clicking on the video. We have been busier than a three-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. Every day we have either been working on the property, moving into the new house, or physically moving furniture from the old house to here, or moving furniture, helping people load it up when we sell our old furniture. So just been a lot going on. But I got a few hours that I can get something done. So I'm going to try and get these trees planted that I've had for a while. So what we have here is an assortment of trees that I grew from bare root in 2018. So in 2018, we had a major hurricane in the area, and the state or the county was giving out little tiny bare rooted trees. So I got an oak tree, different type of oaks. I wrote them down. I don't know what they are now. Hickory, oak, hickory, that's a magnolia. I started from seed. Oak, I think that's a pin oak. I think that's a sawtooth oak. I think that is a hickory. And then we got a couple of pecan trees. And what I'm trying to do is not put them somewhere where I'm going to have to like fight to mow around them. But before I get started with that, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the garden, because the big thing about Piney Grove is trying to be good stewards of the land and use the land, and we've really been enjoying the vegetables from the garden this year. Now, I've done several videos on this deer fence, and if you're interested in the product that I used, I'll put an Amazon link down below. It's real cheap for this plastic netting. It's 6.5 foot tall, and I've strung it around the whole garden. And we have a fair amount of deer in the area, and we've never had a deer come in here and mess with the garden. So they come right up next to the garden here, but none have ever come in and bothered anything. So this works for us. But we get a lot of comments on those videos that say that this fence won't stop the deer in their area. And so I don't know what the deer are like in your area, but in Florida, where we live on Piney Grove, this will stop the deer from coming in your garden. Will they figure it out in a couple years and jump over it or jump through it? I don't know, but it's worked for, I think, 3 years now. It's our second summer garden. We started all of these by plants, and we put them all in on plastic, bedded up the rows, and then we have wood chips in between. So we're relatively weed-free. We got a row of squash here. We have picked so many 5-gallon pails of squash, given so much squash away. It's not even funny. This is our raised bed area. And I just transplanted some carrots the other day. And we've got some red onions and white onions going. That's the last of the radishes. And yesterday I planted some beets right there. And then there's another raised bed with nothing but onions. Green beans, we've been enjoying green beans, having green beans almost every night. Corn was in that row, but I've cut the stalks down already because we've already harvested that corn. That's the next planting that's coming due, and then I got another planting over there. And I learned a lot about corn here recently, so I'm going to do a separate video on that. But I'm not going to talk much more about the garden, but there's one more thing I got to show. So down there is regular green beans. These are what's called giant green beans or noodle beans. Look how long that green bean is. And we have picked bucketfuls off of this little patch. And I used some old concrete wire to make a trellis. And they're next to some bell peppers right here. That one's actually got a bad spot on it, but it's still going to be good to eat. But that one's almost ready to pick. And then we've been picking just 5-gallon pailfuls of these cucumbers. There's one that's ready to pick right there. But I show you all that because we haven't been providing garden updates except by pictures on Facebook. And if you're not a follower of us on Facebook, the name of the page is Piney Grove Homestead and Mini Farm. And every afternoon we post a picture about what we've been doing that day out on the property. So YouTube videos take a while to film and edit and get uploaded. So what I'm going to do today you won't see for a couple weeks, but there will be a picture of whatever I'm doing today up on Facebook in a few hours. Already got a bunch of tools loaded up in here. This is the electric side-by-side. We love this thing. So quiet, don't have to put gas in it, don't have to change oil. But we're going to load it up with these trees and show you where we're going to plant them. So as we've grown our channel, our presence on social media, with growth comes a lot of positivity. So we love all the positive comments you guys leave. And if you've never left a comment before, now is the time. This this is the video to leave a comment on. Go ahead and let us know who you are, where you're from, and what you enjoy about the channel. I think this is going to be a simple planting process, unlike my blueberries or my fruit trees in the front of the property. And actually, as you look over my shoulder where the orchard is, I might put the pecans out there. But pecan trees get pretty big over time, and I don't want them shading out the orchard. So, still got to think about that one a little bit. This is my view as I drive around. But here is our 1 acre field. I got that planted. That's in another video. It might be out already. And here's watermelons and cantaloupe. And we're trying to start to move towards more of a production type of property. So the years of tilling this and just grinding in everything that we've planted to improve the soil, we hope to have it pay off dividends. So we're planting some watermelons that hopefully we can take to market here if enough of them grow. But I want to show you how bad the weeds are when you don't use wood chips. This land was tilled at the same time those watermelons were planted, and look how bad those weeds are. So I'm going to take down this fence and till around them, but at some point you're not going to be able to till because of the vines. So this area, it's mid-morning. You can see it's sunny. It gets good sun. Sun's directly overhead because it's the summer, but in the winter the sun will be more over there in the southern sky. So this will be good exposure. I think the first thing I want to do is put out a string line from me to the camera, just for a reference point. I don't know if the trees will go on this line, but kind of give me something to look at. And if you saw the blueberry planting video, you're probably thinking, oh no, here we go again. Brad's going to break out the tape measure and do a whole bunch of silly stuff with his tree planting. And you're kind of right, except for I don't have a tape measure. But I am going to step it off and get them as even as possible. So if Deb was in this video, and she's editing right now, by the way, so that's why you don't see her as much, is I'm making so many videos that she has to edit all the time just to keep up. So we want to kind of give her a break and slow that pace, but there's just a lot going on right now. So that's where she's at. But if she was here, she would look at the camera and say, leave a comment down below. Would you guys do that? Would you guys run a string? Or would you just look at it and eyeball it? And I'm interested in that as well. But I've got my deer stand right here for the plot. I don't want to plant a tree that's going to grow right in front of my sight line. But I think right there in the corner as you come in here, I'd like something to fill in this area, even if I have to take out that pine tree right there. So I think I'm going to plant an oak here, and then if I keep the limbs trimmed, then it'll be like a nice canopy as you're walking into the field. So I think one will go here. So I'm going to lay them out. That's my biggest one. So I'm just going to pace off, I guess. I want to have room to turn around with the tractor and stuff, but I also don't need all of this acreage here. And these trees need to go in the ground. They deserve that. It's been too long. All right, put that one at 10. And that one at 10. And they're all different oaks. They'll produce acorns at different times of the year. Just wondering if that one closest to the camera shouldn't be in line as well, but might have to go get Deb. Might have to go get a second opinion. Look what I got here and give me your opinion on how this is going to go down. So here's what I'm thinking. When we come out of the path, this is our biggest oak tree. It'll be on that side of the deer stand. And if we have to, we can take out that spindly pine tree and it'll fill in this area right here, right? Because this part of the plot is just real sandy and doesn't grow well at all because all the pine trees are just leaching all those nutrients. So this one's in line with them, but not out as far. And then I'm thinking down here, because the deer stand's right there, that I don't want a tree right in front of the deer stand, so I put this pin oak here. And then every 30 feet or so, I put a different kind of oak. There's a sawtooth, and I had them originally way out here in the plot, but I thought that might be too far. But you gotta remember, like, look at that oak tree there. That's probably, what, 10 years old or so? 15 years old. And you see it goes out 10 feet or so. So this one is gonna be to here before you know it, right? And that one's gonna be to here before you know it.
It's not gonna hinder your tilling or working in
it will. I mean, it will, but at the same time, you know, it's not It's not like we have to plant this perfectly, you know? It's not like we have to plant all the way up to the edge, right? And the edge, I've found that even like last year when we planted those soybeans, nothing wants to grow in this sandy soil. So might as well square the field off. I mean, the field was built by a guy on a bulldozer, right? So that's how accurate it is. So losing this little curve right here, I don't think is a big deal.
I think it looks really pretty, and if it's not going to hinder any work in the plot, I think it'll be nice. Now, the other thing, I know that you didn't put one right in front of your deer stand, but eventually these are all going to grow up. Are they going to block your view of the stand?
I was also thinking as they grow, they're going to shield the house and the buildings, all of them that you can see from here.
As Brad has cleaned up all this wooded area and had fun on the mulcher and the mini mulcher, you can now see our structures, and we want the deer to be happy when they're feeding. We don't know if they're happy right now when they're feeding.
But I think I got the approval that what I've got laid out here, where they are, because I had them out here, and I think that's too far, but you think that's going to be good right there? And you like that one up there?
I do. I think that's going to be really pretty once
it grows up.
The thing that's amazed us is, like you said, these have been in pots for years, and obviously things grow better once you get them out of the pots. But how quickly they thrive and grow has been amazing to watch. The magnolias that were planted just a couple months ago, they are flourishing and doing so well. So I'm excited to mark the progress of these once they go into the ground.
Yeah, those magnolias were 4 or 5 years old, and I think they've been in the ground 3 months, and they've almost doubled in size.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch.
All right, well, we got some rain coming, so I'll let you get back to editing so you can get some videos out for these folks, and I will get these planted.
All righty, good job.
Aw, she said good job. I went around to each tree and kind of marked out the bottom of the container. Just gonna dig out a hole. Deb was like, why didn't you get the tractor with the auger, which I've done before, and the reason is, one, I'm not putting in that many trees, and two, this soil is not that hard, and I think the time it would take to get the tractor and put on the post hole digger or the auger and dig these few holes just wouldn't be worth it. So I'm just going to dig them by hand. I put a little fertilizer deep in the hole and tilled it in with the shovel, and that's just to encourage these roots to go deeper into that clay, because I got sand on top and clay on the bottom. Because we have high winds here, hurricanes in Florida, and I want this thing to kind of go deeper with its roots rather than spread out. So we just score some of these roots to encourage new growth, and I've probably replanted that thing 4 or 5 times and just kept putting it in bigger pots. But now it goes in its final resting home. Take some of this dirt that's got some of that fertilizer that I pulled out from the bottom of the hole, fill in this little gap here, and then pack it. Then we'll put a little fertilizer around the top, mound it up. As a kid growing up on a farm, we used to put in so many fence posts and build, you know, what are they called, pole barns, or just little equipment sheds or whatever. And we would wear out shovel handles, wooden shovel handles, which make the best packers. If you have a fiberglass handle, it's going to have a little rubber plug on the end. It's not good for packing, but it's kind of cool when you buy a new shovel, and this one doesn't have much packing experience, but when you get a new one and it starts to get sharp on the end from all the packing, just like if you were running sandpaper across it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just dig up some dirt around here. I might get the tractor involved and create a little berm all the way around these trees so that they'll capture water and hold it, because it's sandy here, so can't really overwater these trees. So we'll just make like a little moat all the way around here. We'll start it with the dirt that we dug out of the hole. That was a big one. The other ones won't have as much extra dirt. But we'll put some more dirt around there and maybe put some wood chips or something on top of it. But that first one is planted. Go down the line and do the rest. All right, guys, all of them are planted. Looking pretty good. I kept them pretty straight, and the process was the same for all of them. dig a hole, a little fertilizer in the bottom of the hole, cut the roots of the root ball or the root bound roots of the tree, put it in there, a little more fertilizer, and then pack it in. And then take the extra dirt and start the mound. Now I'm going to go get a tractor and a bucket full of dirt, create a mound around each one of them, and then water them. Although I think God wants to water them here soon as well. But we're at the point to build the berms around the trees. And normally I have like 2 trees to do when I put in my fruit trees, but I've got a bunch of trees to do, so it's probably going to take about 4 buckets or so of dirt. Make a little berm around them and then water them if it don't start raining before then. Putting the first couple in were fun, but I had 5 to put in. By the time I got to this one and put it in, I was over it. It's monotonous work, and I say this every time that I have a project at the end, is that I'm over it, but then I'll come back a week or so later, 2 weeks later, whatever, even the next day, and I'll be thinking to myself, man, I'm so glad I did it that way. I'm so glad I took the time at the time and did it right. I thought about it on the way over here. I'm not going to wood chip it or put any kind of mulch around it because this is basically in a field. So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to burn them all up and then come back and soak them down with water, because anything that's transplanted, that's a big shock to them. So they need to be watered, even with the rain coming and the fact that they were put into some pretty moist soil. And then I'm going to put an orange flag on them, just some orange tape, so that when I'm brush hogging, you know, these iron clay peas out here and then the weeds along the edge of the field, they get pretty tall. And the last thing I want to do is run over these trees that I've worked so hard to keep alive and grow. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I'll leave you with some final footage of once they're all put in here. But let me know what you think down in the comments. I think it came out great. But until next time, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short, tractor hard, and check out these 2 videos right here. They're totally awesome. Take care, guys.